56 million years ago, the land that would become the Giza Plateau was submerged beneath a shallow sea. Over millions of years, the remains of marine organisms settled on the ocean floor and compressed into the thick beds of limestone that now form the Egyptian desert. From this ancient seabed, human hands eventually carved the largest monolith statue in the world, stretching over 240 feet in total length. The standard historical narrative attributes this monumental feat to the pharaoh Khafre. Because the monument sits directly in front of his tomb and the nearby temples were built using stone from the Sphinx's enclosure, we are taught that Khafre ordered its construction 4,500 years ago to guard his adjacent pyramid. For generations, this timeline has been presented as a settled matter, a closed chapter in the history of human civilization that requires no further investigation. Yet, when you examine the statue's physical form, a glaring inconsistency becomes apparent. The head of the monument is entirely out of proportion with its sprawling, elongated body. The ancient Egyptians were masters of proportion in stonework. Their majestic royal monuments were executed with absolute meticulous accuracy. A scaling error of this magnitude is not found elsewhere in their architectural record. Furthermore, the head has been exposed to abrasive desert winds for millennia, while the body remained buried under protective sand for most of its history. Logically, the head should be far more degraded than the body, but the exact opposite is true. This visual paradox suggests a different possibility. The head we see today is a later recarving. It suggests an ambitious pharaoh may have claimed a much older, heavily weathered monument and chiseled down the original head to carve his own likeness into the stone. The evidence for an older origin is etched into the massive walls of the enclosure surrounding the monument. Here, the limestone tells a story that contradicts the established Egyptian timeline. While mainstream history attributes the wear on the Sphinx to wind and sand, geological analysis reveals a different pattern of erosion. These vertical fissures are textbook signatures of intense rainfall, not the horizontal scouring of sand. Because the Sahara has been hyper-arid for 5 millennia, finding precipitation capable of carving solid rock requires turning the clock back to the last ice age, around 10,000 BCE. This geological data suggests the core body of the Sphinx was already sitting in its enclosure thousands of years before the first pharaoh was born. For decades, historians dismissed this data, arguing that no society existed during the Ice Age capable of such monumental architecture. That assumption changed with the discovery of Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. This site features complex megalithic construction definitively dated to over 11,000 years ago. With this prehistoric precedent, the theory of a lost culture carving a massive monument during a much greener era of the Sahara becomes a scientific possibility. It suggests that the Sphinx may be a rare surviving relic of a forgotten epoch in human history. If the monument itself is older than we thought, the question turns to what might be hidden beneath it. For a century, explorers have shared accounts of hidden chambers and tunnels concealed beneath its paws. In the early 1990s, seismic surveys mapped the bedrock beneath the monument. The sound waves detected distinct cavities, including a room-sized chamber located directly under the left front paw. These scientific findings echoed the earlier claims of Edgar Cayce, who stated that a hall of records containing the lost history of humanity was buried in that exact location. However, shortly after these anomalies were detected, the Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities halted the research. Geologists were removed from the site, and official reports began to deny that anything of interest lay beneath the limestone. Today, the true nature of the seismic anomalies beneath the paws remains unexcavated. Whether the halt was due to conservation concerns or other factors, the voids beneath the limestone floor remain an open mystery. Even in 1400 BCE, the Sphinx was already an ancient enigma. Prince Thutmose found the monument largely forgotten and buried up to its neck in the desert sand. According to the dream stele, the granite tablet placed between its paws, the Sphinx spoke to the prince in a vision, promising him the throne of Egypt if he would only clear the sands from its body. Some medical experts suggest this vivid spiritual experience may have been the result of temporal lobe epilepsy, a condition found in the prince's family line that can trigger intense hallucinations. Regardless of its cause, this event confirms that even for the New Kingdom pharaohs, the Sphinx was a relic of a distant and mysterious past. During spring and autumn equinoxes, the sun aligns perfectly with the Sphinx and its temple. This architectural synchronization was designed to capture solar light, linking the celestial cycle to the Earth, to represent the eternal process of life and rebirth. The physical clues, the rainfall erosion, the disproportionate head, and the unexcavated cavities beneath it, point to a narrative far older than the standard textbooks claim. The Great Sphinx stands as a silent witness on the edge of the desert, guarding the boundary between our recorded history and a forgotten era of human origins. It challenges us to accept that our past is more mysterious than we have imagined.